Hello, and welcome back to Amanda's Playbook. This week, I want to talk to you about a story that was told to me a while back, and it literally changed the way that I thought about influence, about human dynamics, about solving problems. And it's a story shared by Gloria Steinem. She was doing research on how to solve the issue of sex trafficking in Africa, particularly in Zambia. Now, this was many years ago, and she spent months researching this and trying to figure out what it was. She had expertise in this sphere and she talked to many people. But when she arrived in the Zambian village, she didn't come with a strategy deck or a presentation or a talk or anything. All she did was she asked the villagers themselves one simple question. What would it have taken for those girls not to have left the village? That's it. That one simple question. That was the problem. Girls were being sold into sex trafficking. The reason was because the village was very poor. There was starvation, there was drought. And the villagers, in answer to this, said an electric fence. They didn't say education. They didn't say awareness. They didn't say policy. They said an electric fence. I was very confused when I heard this. And I thought, what does that mean, an electric fence? Well, upon talking to them further and figuring out what was really going on in this village, families were faced with starvation. Crops had died. They were facing death themselves with the starvation. And the only chance that their daughters really had was to leave the village to sex trafficking and could survive that way. Crazy, right? So an electric fence would have stopped them. So Gloria Steinem went back to the US with this information, and she spent several months raising a few $1,000s. She sent the money to the village to build the fence. 3 years, the fence was built, crops were thriving, there was music and dancing, there was no more starvation, and not one girl had been sex trafficked. Here's the point. The fence wasn't the magic. The question was. To me, this is a masterclass on relationship capital. See, real influence, the kind that moves people to action, that protects, that invests, that changes things, it doesn't start with control. It starts with connection. And connection begins with the belief that the other party is the expert of their own reality. 3 things that came with this solution that I think we can all apply are, number one, like I said, she didn't come with a strategy deck. She didn't come preaching. She didn't come being an expert or guru. She came with empathy. And it shows that the most effective solutions shift when you go from being simply the expert, knowing it all, to having empathy and really understanding what the situation of those dealing with the situation really are. Number 2, it reframes power from telling to listening with intention. When you're telling, you're not understanding the situation either. And you can't hear because you're going to miss things. So she went in with, even though she had all this expertise and research, none of that would have led her to the solution that an electric fence was actually the solution. And number 3, the proof of co-creation, of co-ownership. The fact that the villagers were the ones that said an electric fence, and that's what they built. There is some feeling when you feel like you had a say in the solution or what's built, that you're going to be more likely to accept it, to embrace it, to take accountability for it. They felt like they had been part of the solution. So all in all, this is influence at its finest. This isn't persuasion. This isn't manipulation. It's being able to understand what's really going on, what's really moving people to action, and using that relationship capital, building that trust, that empathy, that listening to understand both sides, to build trust, to make decisions, and to get buy-in, actual buy-in. This is how relationships scale impact, and this is the future of influence. So I encourage you, it's not to think about when you're faced with a problem, rather than simply, and it's so easy just to like type online now, but to actually just ask the question, especially if you're a brand or a business owner, you can do a million studies. What about just getting in the customer's shoes, asking what is it that they want? What is it that they're actually dealing with? And that is my takeaway from this week. So what is it that you can ask yourself and ask people at hand? What is it that they're really dealing with? Whenever you're faced with a problem, a challenge, rather than, yes, research supplements, yes, all of these things, but don't forget about actually what's going on. Put yourself in the shoes. Ask the people that are on the ground level. So that concludes my episode for this week. I can't wait to hear from you guys. I hope that you subscribe to my channel. I would love to hear from you. I respond to all the comments, and there's not that many, so it's very easy. So I see you. I hope to see you back here next week. Bye-bye.